GBS.
A very good evening. This is GBS News at 9 coming to you live from Kenya's capital, Nairobi. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Paul Mathenge, and together we'll be taking you through the stories making headlines tonight. But first, here are the highlights.
We have directed that they must be moved mandatorily. They must move. It is not an option, it's mandatory. We are giving them this afternoon. If they don't move by 6 p.m., we are going to start moving them downstream by force and take them to safe places.
Floods checklist continues. 200 families ordered to evacuate in Kijabe by 6 p.m. today as death toll rises to 238.
Wakiwa pale nyumbani tusidanganyane, wanasoma saa zote. So wakiwa nyumbani na walimu wanafunza huku, they get to cover most of the learning is going to be covered, badala ya kupoteza wakati.
Smart Brains Kenya's laptops bring light into flood-darkened classrooms, with learning continuing for students in the comfort of their homes. Saving the Mountain Bongo. First Lady leads Kenya in marking 20th anniversary of conservation efforts, site crucial for tourism sustainability. Junior starlets mark 10-day in camp in preparation for World Cup qualifiers match against Ethiopia. To begin our bulletin, urgent evacuation orders have been issued in Kenya amid fears of potential flooding disasters. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki has directed over 200 families to immediately vacate their homes downstream of the Kijabe Railway in Riru village, citing concerns over storm water accumulation and the looming threat of a drainage system failure. So far, only 86 families have complied and relocated, leaving many still in harm's way. Susan Nganga with the details.
Urgent evacuation orders have been issued following fears of potential flooding disasters. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki has directed the immediate evacuation of over 200 families residing downstream of the Kijabe Railway in Ruiru village. The directive comes amidst mounting concerns over the risk of stormwater flooding downstream in the event of a drainage system failure. Kindiki stressed that the situation poses a significant threat, potentially surpassing the tragedy witnessed in Mai Mahiu recently.
We have directed the evacuation of all families whose residences fall within the projected pathway of any floods that could emanate if the drainage systems and the culverts and the channels we've just inspected were to burst.
However, since the orders were issued, only 86 families have complied and relocated, leaving many still in harm's way.
Already 86 families, I'm informed, have already been relocated. But there are also families who are within the flood path who are still lingering in that area. And we have directed that they must be moved mandatorily. They must move. It is not an option, it's mandatory. And we are giving them this afternoon. If they don't move by 6 p.m., we are going to start moving them downstream by force and take them to safe places, because it will be unimaginable if we were to have an incident similar to what we had here again.
Meanwhile, King Charles III sent a message of comfort to Kenyans following the calamity caused by the ongoing heavy rains. In a message shared by the United Kingdom Embassy in Kenya, the King and Queen expressed their sympathy about the disaster. They emphasized the importance of global cooperation in combating climate change, highlighted by the ongoing natural disaster. As the floods continue to ravage the country, the death toll has risen to 238, with 75 people still missing, while 174 people have been reported injured. Susan Nganga, GBS News.
In light of the postponement of school reopening due to floods, Smart Brains Kenya is committed to ensuring that learning continues for students in the comfort of their homes by providing laptops. On Tuesday, the team engaged in a corporate social responsibility initiative at Kinderstart School, where they distributed over 200 laptops to the students. Here is more on the same. As the nation wrestles with severe floods, the halls of learning remain vacant, their doors shuttered not by choice, but the relentless force of nature. But all hope is not lost, as Smart Brains Kenya has reiterated its dedication to ensuring that students can continue their learning from the safety of their homes online by supplying laptops. This Tuesday, the team undertook a corporate social responsibility effort at Kinderstart School, distributing over 200 laptops to students.
Wakiwa pale nyumbani, tusidanganyane, wanasoma saa zote. So wakiwa nyumbani na walimu wanafunza huku, they get to cover most of the learning is going to be covered, badala ya kupoteza wakati.
Speaking during the initiative, Smart Brains Kenya founder Lemuel Kinyanzwi disclosed that amidst the ongoing floods, the organization has initiated a corporate social responsibility program called One Family, One Laptop program, further noting that the program aims to facilitate continuous learning for students during the floods with 1,000 laptops embarked for this purpose. The laptops will be distributed free of charge to parents through selected schools for the duration of the learning interruption, promoting online education.
And our mission today is to help schools like Kinderstart to be able to continue with education in the midst of these floods. What we are doing is we are giving every family a laptop, and also the teachers also getting laptops so that they can be able to continue to teach from online from the comfort of their homes.
Smart Brains Kenya is a Kenyan kids coding academy driven by the belief that learners deserve an opportunity to learn to code and are committed to providing experienced coding tutors, laptops with internet access for each child, robotic kits, a proven curriculum, and access to the curriculum on any device via their online platform. African leaders have today called for better financing models for Africa fertilizer and soil funding in order to address food and nutrition insecurity facing millions of Africans. Speaking today during the second African Fertilizer and Soil Health Summit held in Nairobi, the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Dr. Musalia Mudavadi, said issues of fertilizer and soil health cut across different jurisdictions, hence the need for all stakeholders to deliberate and come up with effective and long-lasting solutions. Here are the details.
The Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has called for better financing models for Africa fertilizer and soil funding in order to address food and nutrition insecurity facing millions of Africans.
As the economies recover, I urge this summit to come up with financing proposals that are practical and achievable. This will be the only way to reach the targets set within the action plans.
In his remarks during the second African Fertilizer and Soil Health Summit in Nairobi, The Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture and Livestock Development, Mithika Linturi, cited soil fertility depletion as the fundamental root cause for declining per capita production due to continuous mining of soil nutrients and inappropriate farming practices, among them the use of blanket fertilizer recommendations. He singled out crop productivity, food insecurity, a low return on agricultural investment, and environmental degradation as some of the negative effects of land degradation.
The current soil fertility replenishment strategy is based on the integrated soil fertility management practices which advocate for the use of both organic and inorganic fertilizers for balanced nutrient fertilization. This arises from the fact that fertilizers are expensive and calls for precise and prescriptive fertilizer recommendations at the farm level, which are based on precise soil testing to ensure increased sustainable and profitable crop production.
Linturi's remarks comes as the Select Committee on his proposed dismissal held a pre-trial hearing this evening. The hearing at the mini chamber at County Hall was attended by all concerned parties, including the Agriculture Cabinet Secretary himself and the Bumula Member of Parliament Jack Wamboka, who sponsored the motion. In the sittings expected to commence from Wednesday, the Bumula Member of Parliament has said he will avail 8 witnesses, including 6 farmers and 2 specialists. Hilary Kabila, GBS News.
Moving on, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader, who is also the official Kenya's opposition leader, Raila Odinga, is now faced with a dilemma whether to keep his African Union chairmanship position bid or to concentrate on local politics after he came out on Saturday and criticized the government that is campaigning for him on his AUC bid. Odinga, who has also faced warning from some government officials against criticizing the government, is faced with opposition on his AUC bid after Somalia and Djibouti decided to front their candidates, a move that many say has pushed him back into local politics. Davis Karani has more details on the same.
Big Kenya's opposition leader Raila Odinga has left many Kenyans in dilemma after he came out on Saturday and criticized the government on negligence of a poor response and poor plans on dealing with floods, which have cost lives and displaced hundreds of Kenyans across the entire nation.
Wameshindwa, walishindwa na hata wakikaa miaka 10 hawameshindwa.
The opposition chief, who is being fronted by the Kenya's government on his AUC position bid, has raised concern to many, including even some government officials.
Mzee, unatafutiwa kazi, badala ya kujamaza utulie polepole, tena unaanza kutusi chief campaigner wako.
Raila Odinga, Kenyan seasoned politician, has officially displayed his true colors after he loudly criticized the government in a move that many did not expect from him after the government declared its full support for his AUC position bid.
Your Excellency, my dear brother, I thank you most sincerely for accepting to support Kenya's candidature for the position of the chairperson of the Africa Union Commission 2025-2028.
But the question that many are asking is, why has Raila decided not to care on the government support on his AUC job bid?
Tumekuja kama wanaazimio.
Is he confident of winning the position without the government support, or he has sensed a red flag?
As you are aware, the position of the chair of the African Union Commission will take place, the election will take place in February 2025. This is an opportunity for the Eastern Africa region. Kenya has an interest.
Having done our analysis, we realized that the entry of Djibouti and Somalia into the race for the AUC position is a big threat to Odinga's bid, as Djibouti's Foreign Affairs Minister, who has also declared his interest in the position, has an added advantage, which is his fluency in French, English, and Arabic. By that, many say that he will be able to lobby as many countries as possible into his support. The African Union chairmanship position elections will be conducted on February 2025.
Your Excellency, Kenya is seeking Zimbabwe's support, having presented its candidate for the AU Commission chair.
Is Odinga's criticism to the government a double chance for him as a strategy just in case he loses the AUC position? Just in case he loses the AUC position he will still remain relevant in the local politics, or is it love for his countrymen who are suffering at the moment? A tweet by the former Kiambu Governor William Kabogo of praying for Odinga not to win the AUC position has created reactions among netizens from across. Many Kenyans believe that Raila Odinga is the only leader who can go hard on the government and it responds effectively. Davis Karani, GBS News, Nairobi.
Hello everyone! Welcome to Fun Story Class. Friends, today I'm going to read the story of the ant and the grasshopper. Friends, this is a very interesting story, so listen carefully. The ant and grasshopper were good friends. The grasshopper was enjoying the fine weather, playing all day. He asked the ant for food, and aunt gave him some. But my food is just enough for my family to last until the end of winter. If I give you more, we too will starve.
What exactly is that when you hear prostate cancer?
So there's an organ called the prostate that is part of the male reproductive system. The organ actually responds to testosterone. So the more it is exposed to it, the more it continues to grow.
Does the enlargement eventually lead to, and even before that, what is the difference?
When the growth is a lot, there's likely to be errors. Okay? And when there are errors, that's when cancer occurs.
So are you able to tell that there is a change?
You said prostate cancer, one of the symptoms is erectile dysfunction.
Do they continue living their sexual life comfortably?
So prostate cancer is not a death sentence. For majority of people who are caught early, they're able to live life to the fullest.
Are you able to infect your spouse with this?
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back. You're still watching GBS News 9. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has called on Kenyans to prioritize saving as a means to bolster the nation's economic prosperity. Speaking at the launch of the 2023 to 2027 National Social Security Fund Corporate Strategic Plan, Mudavadi stressed the importance of cultivating a culture of saving to drive economic transformation. He highlighted the detrimental effects of excessive income consumption and underscored the need of a paradigm shift towards savings. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi called on Kenyans to prioritize saving as a means to bolster the nation's economic prosperity. Mudavadi stressed that a workforce committed to the country's economic advancements must prioritize building a robust saving capacity. While acknowledging the strides made by Kenyans in saving for the future, Mudavadi urged further efforts to match the saving rates of other African countries.
Your Excellency Ahmed Mwalimu Fiki, Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Marks a significant occasion as we gather to discuss matters of mutual importance, guided by the shared vision of enhancing cooperation and fostering stronger ties between our two nations. Somalia and Kenya have a long-standing history of bilateral relations dating back to the inception of both nations. It's an example that distinguished presence of His Excellency Hamza Abdi Barre, the Prime Minister of the Federal Government of Somalia, whose visit underscores the importance we place on deepening the bonds of friendship and collaboration between our countries. This event not only underscores the strength of our bilateral relations, but also demonstrates our mutual commitment and eagerness to fully utilize each other's resources. Today's proceeding will be marked in history, highlighting our willingness to collaborate exchange and enhance the potential of economic integration to address issues like politics, economic and social development, security, movement of people, and among others.
This joint commission is one of the most robust bilateral cooperation arrangements. Since the last JCC and several high-level engagements, I appreciate that both countries have made strides in implementing a number of resolutions. For Kenya, we appreciate that mutually beneficial economic ties and investments flow between our two countries and the foundation for mutual benefit and integration. I wish to acknowledge with appreciation the resumption of Kenya Airways commercial flights on 14th February 2024 and the Somali Civil Aviation Authority's approval for KQ's request for 2023-2024 winter season schedule of freighter flights commencing on 9th February 2024. I also appreciate efforts made in enhancing cooperation in the fields of security, capacity building in the field of health through training of health professionals and the training of police officers.
The county government of Embu has recovered 138 vehicles from the defunct local authorities through the assistance of the state agency Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee. Speaking on Monday while handing over the vehicles to the Deputy Governor Kenyo Mugo, a committee member, Dr. Paminas Nyaga, said the move enables the devolved unit to have ownership of the vehicles and effectively put them to use to enhance service delivery. He said since the advent of devolution, following the passage of the 2010 Constitution, transfer for assets relating to the defunct local authorities to counties has remained pending, exposing them to theft or misuse. He said a number of assets had gone missing in many counties and called for the administrations to work with the staff inherited from the defunct authorities to assist in recovery. Deputy Governor Kenyo Mugo commended the agency for the move, saying the vehicles will greatly assist in improving service delivery.
Piga picha hapa.
Excellent.
Hiyo magari 138 tumerecover, ilikuwa ingine inakaa ikiwa very idle nje ya maofisi, ingine imekuwa katika garages, ilikuwa imetupwa katika mangaraji tofauti, na pia kuna ingine tumefuata, tukaona hata ingine ilikuwa katika boma za watu. Kwa hivyo tunafuatilia kabisa tuone mali yote imerudishwa. Wacha pia nichukue fursa hii niseme kama kuna mtu yeyote ambaye anakuwa na gari ya serikali, ni mzuri kabla hatujamfikia aweze kurudisha katika yandi yetu, kwa sababu asipoleta tutajua iko wapi, na tukifika hapo tumchukue kama ni mtu ambaye ni mbaya, ni mkora na pia ni mwizi, because you cannot have a government vehicle in your homestead. Inafanya kitu gani hapo? Si magari peke yake, tumekuwa na shinda pia katika mashamba. Kuna mashamba ilikuwa ile ya zamani ya municipality ambayo iliweza kunyakuliwa na watu binafsi kwa njia ambayo si halali. Kuna manyumba ya serikali ambayo iliweza kunyakuliwa kwa jina watu wakajifaidisha wenyewe. Kwa hivyo hiyo mali yote tunafanya kazi pamoja. Tushamaliza hii maneno ya magari, wataenda tena tuanze kufuatia maneno ya mashamba, and they also be coming after doing the audit, come and give us another report, ndio tujue hii manyumba ambayo ilinyakuliwa nani alinyakua, ndio kutoka hapo tuanze ile mpango ya recovery tuone mali yote ya serikali.
The government has announced that 45,000 more passports that are the last batch of the 700,000 passport backlog are now out and are ready for collection. According to Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki, the government has already put in place measures for the expedition of the collection of the passports. Here is more on the same.
The government has put in place measures for the expedition of the collection of the final batch of the 45,000 passports, which are now ready for collection, and which also constitute the last batch of the 700,000 passports, whose production was delayed. This is according to the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki earlier today, when he made an interactive tour to various service delivery points relating to the application, production and collection of the Kenyan passports at Nyayo House. CS Kindiki highlighted that his ministry is currently in the process of transforming the service delivery in relation to the issuance of the Kenyan passports, as well as creating efficiency in the delivery of critical citizen services, notably identity documents, birth certificates, passports, as well as management of the foreign nationals in Kenya. In other updates, the amount organizations are paying to get back their data from cyber criminals has increased by 500% in the past year. This is according to a latest report titled The State of Ransomware 2024. The report shows that organizations paid an average of $2 million in ransom to hackers, up from $400,000, with the ransoms being just one part of the cost. Excluding ransoms, the survey found the average cost of recovery reached $2.73 million, an increase of almost $1 million since the $1.82 million that Sophos reported in 2023. Despite the soaring ransoms, this year's survey indicates a slight reduction in the rate of ransomware attacks, with 59% of organizations being hit, compared to 66% in 2023. The report that covered Europe, the Middle East and Africa shows that in this category 47% of organizations were hit by ransomware in the last 1 year. Hilary Kabila, GBS News.
So keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. That report brings us to our international news, but first let us take a quick commercial break.
So through the four gospel books, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, John, we can know the heart of Jesus in depth.
그리고 우리가 느끼는 그 예수님을 성경을 통해 느낄 수 있어서 너무 감사합니다.
And the Jesus that we can feel him through the scriptures, and I'm very thankful about that. Jesus Christ came to this earth for our sins. He carried our sins.
십자가에 못 박혀 죽어 죄의 형벌을 당하셨고,
and he was crucified, and he received the punishment for sins.
무덤에 들어가셨다가,
and he was put into the tomb.
사흘 만에 부활하셨습니다.
and resurrected in 3 days.
이것이 우리가 말하는 복음입니다.
This is the gospel that we speak.
예수님께 우리 죄를 위해 죽으신 이야기.
About how Jesus died for our sins. The purpose of Jesus being crucified.
우리 죄를 담당하기 위하여 십자가에 못 박혀 죽으셨습니다.
He was crucified to pay for our sins.
예수 십자가에 못 박혀 죽으심으로 우리 죄가 분명히 씻어졌는데.
And through Jesus being crucified, clearly our sins have been washed clean.
참 안타깝게도 많은 사람은 죄인이라고 말합니다.
However, unfortunately, many people still say that they are sinners.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the broadcast, and now to matters international news. Chad is busy with an anticipation as its citizens prepare to cast their votes in the country's first presidential election in 30 years. Originally slotted for October 2022, the election was postponed, leading to protests that were met with force by the security personnel. Despite facing a spirited opponent, incumbent Muhammad Idris is favored to win as Deby campaigned on the promises of bolstering security, enhancing law enforcement, and improving energy infrastructure.
Chad went to the polls on Monday on its presidential election in 3 decades. Originally scheduled for October 2022, the election was postponed, sparking protests quashed by the security forces. The vote marks the Sahel region's first presidential election since the series of coups with Muhammad Idris Deby Itno. Despite facing a spirited opponent holding favor for victory, he pledged security, law enforcement, and energy enhancements.
This is the commitment I made before God and the changing people, that of organizing, in the agreed-upon timeline, elections that will mark a return to constitutional rule.
The election coincided with a temporary U.S. troop withdrawal from Chad, an ally crucial to the West, as the polling was meant to begin at 7 a.m. with 8.5 million registered voters. Provisional results are due by May 21st and final by June 5th. A runoff is slated for June 22nd if no candidate secures over 50% of the vote. Since assuming power, Deby maintained ties with France, while neighboring Sahel nations pivot towards Moscow, with Chad retaining significant French military presence. The United States recently announced temporary troop withdrawals, citing a security review and post-elections. Jennifer Macau, GBS News.
South Africa woke up on Tuesday in mourning following the tragic passing of Mfo7, a 30-year-old actor who lost his life in a car accident in the Northwest Province, as confirmed by his devastated family. Here is more on the same.
South Africa is in mourning following the tragic demise of actor Mfo7. The actor died on Sunday in a car accident in Potchefstroom, Northwest Province, as confirmed by his family. The 30-year-old actor's family has appealed for privacy as they grapple with this devastating news. Bang, a celebrated figure in South Africa's entertainment landscape, had a career spanning nearly 2 decades, marked by remarkable performances and accolades. His journey in acting commenced at the tender age of 12, catapulting him into the spotlight of television. Among his notable works are appearances in TV dramas like Justice for All and Zero Tolerance, both which received widespread acclaim and numerous awards. During his high school years, he portrayed a role in the 2011 film Winnie, a biographical depiction of the late Winnie Mandela's life. His talent was further recognized when he was nominated for the Best Male Actors in the telenovela at the 2018 South African Film and Television Awards. Sebeng's repertoire extended to international platforms, including roles in the Netflix production such as Savage Beauty and Miseducation.
My name is Mphosibeng. I play Caesar.
Sebeng's passing has elicited profound sorrows from his colleagues and fans, like actor Zola Hashatsi expressed his grief, describing Sebeng as a cherished friend and a colleague whose presence filled a significant void. Ivy Maven, GBS News.
Moving on, Vladimir Putin has been inaugurated for his 5th term as president of Russia in a ceremony held at Kremlin. The event, however, was notably boycotted by the United States and several of its allies. President Putin has begun another 6-year tenure as Russia's leader amidst a backdrop of political suppression and ongoing conflicts, particularly the controversial war in Ukraine. In a solemn ceremony held within the Golden Palace of the Grand Kremlin, President Putin placed his hand on the Russian constitution, pledging to defend it as he addressed a crowd of selected dignitaries, highlighting unity and resilience in the face of challenges. Since coming to power in 1999, Putin has reshaped Russia's trajectory, transforming it into geopolitical force with a contentious role in global affairs. The absence of key Western diplomats at the inauguration underscores the strained relations between Russia and the West. Despite international condemnation and domestic dissent, Putin begins his fifth term with a firm grip on power, having neutralized political opposition and silenced critics.
Мы уверенно смотрим вперед.
Tensions have been escalating in the southern Gaza city of Rafah as Israel issued a warning of an impending ground invasion. Thousands of residents, many already displaced, were witnessed hurriedly packing their belongings and fleeing the area following the Israeli military's order to leave. This announcement has complicated last-minute efforts by the international mediators, including the director of CIA, to broker a ceasefire. Here is more on the same.
Tens of thousands of people have started packing up their belongings in the southern Gaza city of Rafah and fleeing. This comes as the Israeli military on Monday ordered the evacuation with long-promised and highly controversial imminent ground invasion. The announcement complicated last-ditch efforts by the international mediators, including the director of the CIA. Hamas and Qatar have warned that an invasion of Rafah could derail the talks. But the news of evacuation leaves displaced people in distress as many ask where to go next. In Rafah, people received flyers on Monday morning detailing which neighborhood blocks needed to leave and where humanitarian zones had expanded to. The flyers said that aid services would spread from Deir el-Bala in the north to the center of Han Yunus city in the middle of Gaza Strip. Israel's army said on social media platform of X that it will act with extreme force against militants and urge the population to evacuate immediately for their safety. About 1.4 million Palestinians, more than half of Gaza's population, are jammed into the town and its surroundings. Most of them fled their homes elsewhere in the territory to escape Israel's onslaught and now face another wrenching move or a danger of facing the brunt of new assault. They live in densely packed tent camps overflowing the UN shelters or crowded apartments and are dependent on international aid for food, with sanitation systems and medical facilities infrastructure crippled. The UN agency that has helped millions of Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank of decades, known as UNRWA, warned on Monday of devastating consequences of a Rafah offensive, including more civilian suffering and deaths. The United States, Israel's closest ally, has repeatedly urged Israel not to carry out invasion, saying it does not have a credible plan to protect civilians, but even as the US, Egypt, and Qatar have pushed for a ceasefire agreement, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu repeated last week that the military will move on the town with or without a deal to achieve its goal of destroying the Hamas militant group.
Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. And now for sports lovers, it is time for your most anticipated part of the news, the sports news. Let's get sporty. The Kenya Women Under-17 national team, Junior Starlets, has entered the 10th day of their presidential training today, Tuesday, April 30th, in preparation for their upcoming two-legged third round of FIFA Under-17 Women World Cup qualifier against Ethiopia. They began with the first leg in Ethiopia on Friday, May 10th, following the second leg at home on Sunday. All players have reported to camp ahead of the quarter. The head coach, Mildred Cheche, is confident in her team's preparedness ahead of the qualifier, stating the team is scheduled to travel to Ethiopia on Wednesday. After the two legs, the winner of the aggregate will proceed to the fourth and final round, where they will face either Djibouti or Burundi. Following this match, the victor secures an automatic qualification to the 2024 FIFA Under-17 Women World Cup in October, to be held in Dominican Republic.
All the key players from the school teams are here. So we have a good team from schools, Talanta Hela, Chapadimba, so we are hoping to build a very strong team that is going to compete against Ethiopia. I think we are prepared because most of our players have been competing at the highest level locally. So hopefully they will rise up to the task ahead. So I am hopeful that we have a great team that is going to play well, even though we did not play in the previous round.
Football Kenya Federation has lined up commercial CAF C license courses in a move aimed at capacity building of coaches who had earlier been trained for free at the FKF D license level. Today, the team began training in Gong, Kajiado County, where they will be there for a week. Coaches who wish to take part in the course, to be held in Kisumu, Mombasa and Nairobi, had between Tuesday, April 30th, 2024 and Tuesday, May 7th, 2024 to register via email technical@footballkenya.org. They needed to submit their full names, county, a copy of their FKFD license certificate, and current club. A maximum of 90 participants have been selected for the three courses as a requirement for the Confederation of African Football.
Nilikaa hivi chini nikaona the best thing that we can do ni kuwa educated, and bila education hautaweza kupatia nini, kufunza watoto the right way. So basically due to that nika decide I have to get my paperwork from scratch. Na as far as federation is concerned, wametusaidia sana kutuletea hizi ma coaching courses mtaani, and zimesaidia sana at a subsidized rate whereby kila mtu anaweza afford, and that means that hata the boys who are coming up, they'll get good education from educated coaches. As far as impact, we'll train, I'll be training the players who come to co-educated, you know what I'm saying? And apart from that, apart from co-educated, ndapatia the right knowledge, si guesswork, unaona? So due to that, tutapata wachezaji kutoka a young age, unaona? Wanakuja wakiwa nini? Wakiwa na proper training, unaona? And proper education.
Actually, like Evelyn, practicing coach, it's self-satisfying when you see you're nurturing young talents and going further to to the levels that sikufika, ama like to the levels that other people in the country hawajafika, other players. So hiyo ndio one of the motivation. The second motivation is like it's a career of itself. It's a career of itself. So at least about the CBC, they have now identify that talent can be a career. So like coaching, says you can go to international school, like high schools and all that. They are embracing the career of being a coach. Actually, coaching is like being a doctor, because like you're impacting into people's life, you're impacting knowledge that can bring something on the table of that person, ama mchezaji. So coaching is really like.
McLaren's Lando Norris beat Red Bull's Max Verstappen with help from the safety car to take his maiden Formula One victory at the Miami Grand Prix. Lando Norris had secured his maiden Formula One victory at the Miami Grand Prix before the great and good of the sport began taking turns to congratulate him. Here are the details.
Lando Norris pulled away to win from championship leader Max Verstappen. After taking advantage of a safety car period to pit for tires and retain the lead, Norris jumped to the front because he was able to make his pit stop when a safety car was deployed at about half distance, while others had already stopped. Three-time world champion Max Verstappen, who has won 4 times while dominating the season so far, finished nearly 8 seconds behind Norris. Max Verstappen was unable to keep pace with Lando Norris when the race restarted with 27 laps to go, and the Briton straight ahead while the world champion had to settle for second place, ahead of Ferrari's Charles Leclerc, who finished third. Lando Norris' victory came in his 110th Grand Prix start and after previously finishing on the podium 15 times without winning, which was a Formula One record. Norris, who has driven for McLaren since his Formula One debut as a 19-year-old in 2019, was eliminated at the first corner in the Miami sprint race on Saturday. It is McLaren's first victory since the 2021 Italian Grand Prix, when Daniel Ricciardo took the win ahead of Lando Norris. Reporting for GBS TV, I am John Kinyanjui.
And that sports news brings us to the end of our news segment tonight. Here are GBS News at 9. We make your news our business. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Paul Mathenge. Good night.
Everywhere, GBS.